Your connection is not the best, Gus. Keep on cutting up.
Oh boy.
Hi, Annie.
Hello, guys. Good afternoon.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hi, Annie.
Hello. Luis Dutra.
Yes, pleasure to meet you.
Another Luis.
Another Gus. Yeah, he's copying me.
Good.
Wants to take over. We should start a Gus club. Like, that's a great business idea, because one of the things we identify with the most is our names, and if you start a campaign just to people who have the same name as yours, they will immediately identify. And like Gus Club, the Annie Club, Paulo Club.
Yeah.
Gus, your connection is kind of unstable. Is there any other Wi-Fi you can connect to?
Let me try on my phone. I'm gonna try my 4G. It'll be better. All right, be right back, guys.
Having coffee? Only Gus is having coffee with me, so you're the best. Gus is the best.
I'm just with my energy drink.
Me too. It's an energy drink. Guys, we released an episode on our podcast. I believe I sent you the link, didn't I? I gave you the link in private. I recorded it with coffee. Yeah, about coffee. So you can start getting to know coffee better, and appreciating it, and maybe taking a course. Probably you took a workshop. Why into having specialty coffee?
Sorry?
You took the workshop by Doc Brown.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So did you start having coffee after that?
Yeah, but I need to buy all the equipment to do the
But don't make it too hard, because I only have my French press, and it was 38 reais. It wasn't expensive, and there are even cheaper ones that I found here, like 18. Not the best, but it's something. And or you can buy just a V60 and a box of filters, and it's be ready to start. Of course, you're not going to be precise as you learn in the workshop, like in the flow of the water, or in the weight and the ratio between water and coffee. But you can do it. You can start with what you have.
But do you prefer French press than V60?
I prefer the French press because there's no paper, and better for the environment, better for my pocket. I don't have to be buying filters all the time, and I prefer the taste as well. It's more rich because it doesn't keep anything from going through. It just separates the solid from the liquid, and that's it. But it doesn't keep any of the taste in the filter. And the V60, the V60 blocks the oil from going through to the coffee, and the oil is part of the mouthfeel of the body of the coffee. So it has more body when you do it in the French press, and it's more practical. And like I can go to the kitchen, I can heat up the water, put it inside, and then fill up to the right amount, and then I set a timer. I say, hey Google, 4-minute timer, and it starts a 4-minute timer. I just did, and I can bring it back to my room, and let the time pass and pour into my coffee.
I was just thinking that was connected with your Google Assistant somehow. Like you ask Google to run you once it's done, something like that, or you just like a.
Sorry?
How do you control the time? So a timer?
Yes, I say, hey Google, and then I say 4-minute timer, and then it sets a 4-minute timer, and then it just did again. Like, I'm gonna say it.
No, I was thinking something else. I was thinking like somehow you can connect that with your
With the
Google
French press?
Assistant. Yeah.
Wow.
I thought it was like a
Very soon they'll be
very
able to.
smart French press. Yeah.
Actually, it won't even be necessary because I can just start a timer on the French press, like set a button and then it starts. And the time is standard, so it doesn't have to have a lot of settings or capabilities. And then it goes down by itself. You know, but it's not very necessary yet. So, what coffee are you having? Yes.
No, just regular coffee, like
Now?
espresso. Yeah.
Not taking coffee.
Okay. This is funny because like that question changes meanings as you understand more about coffee. First, coffee is initially uncountable, right? I'm having coffee. However, when you start getting to know coffee, you understand there's a plural for coffee because there's a different kinds of coffee with different tastes and different origins and different flavors. So I had a coffee yesterday. Now I'm having another coffee. So what coffees do you have? Like, what coffee do you have? So when I ask you this, by our like standards, I'm not asking you how you're having it. I'm asking actually what you're having. So where's the coffee from and the taste, the taste hints, you know, the hint of taste. But initially, before we start studying about coffee, we usually answer by the size or how it's presented, you know, like espresso. I don't like espresso so much because it's too concentrated, and I kind of don't like that. Do you like espresso, Vanessa?
It depends of the occasion. depends on the occasion.
In what occasions do you like it?
I was having espresso when I was waking up, especially when I was in Melbourne, because I was waking up and I needed espresso to start my day.
Mm.
And I used to work in a coffee shop, so I was always asking to the barista, what is my espresso? What is my double espresso? And he was looking at me like, how is your heart? Like, it's okay.
It's my doppio. Okay. So I will send you the link to the podcast episode. Gus, can you hear us? Gus froze.
Yes. Yeah. I hear. Okay. I think that's just my video. But I hear.
See. Were you served by a woman or a man? Is the barista a man?
It's a woman. There are two women here. Yeah.
Did she make it or she just served you?
Now one woman made the coffee, the other one served it. They have like a system.
There we go. Woman run coffee place. And I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I feel that it's not like it makes sense, but women tends to be more warm than nice, I guess. I'm not sure.
More what? More nice? Nicer?
And nicer and warmer, actually.
Warmer. Why do you think so? Why do you think so?
The way they talk, the way they present themselves, you know, the way they make you feel like comfortable in the place. And
Gus is hard to contact today.
Yeah, I think it's true.
And do you feel that's true? Do you feel that women in general are more
the same experience? Yeah.
You feel comfortable?
Yeah. More like a colder attitude, something like that. From guys.
Right. Okay. And what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think it's true. And we are more, you know, we smile more and talk nicely and in general.
I see. Yeah, I never actually split people in that way never stopped to realize if women treat me better at locations or places like. But now I have a man in my mind that didn't treat me well, so now I'm biased believing that. But that's not necessarily true. Like women also can be rude and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanessa, you used to work at a coffee shop, so how did you treat people? I know you are naturally, you smile and everything, but you have your moments as well.
Yes, I was very warm, but I also, the people who were working with me, I remember my last team, there was like 2 guys and 3 girls, and we were all the same, like about like being warm. I remember, like, I think that there was one guy who was like more, there was a guy who was more like serious, but he was polite as well. Like his name, I think maybe it was about his culture. I don't think it was about being a man. He was from India. I was working, the last place where I was working was an Indian restaurant. And there was a very nice guy from India, but he was very serious, but he was very polite and delicate as well with people. Like was very formal. The place was a fine dine cuisine, and he was very, very formal. And yeah, and the girls, we were all like smiling, and we were like, we're even being flirting, like being like
Really?
getting flirty from guys sometimes,
Oh,
because
flirted. Like
we were flirted, yeah. We being flirted sometimes, and but that happens when you work as a waitress. You just get used to that, and like in the beginning you're getting bothered by that, and after you are just like, oh, I have, for example, I got so used to that I was like saying to the guys like, oh, can I get your number? My dream was like getting to know a girl from South America, and I was, oh yes, I'll give you at the end, okay? And I even have friends to recommend you, like,
wow.
yeah, single friends of girls from South America, you're gonna love that. And he was like, the guys were like, oh my god. And then after I was just like, when I was closing the bill, I was telling my friend, can you close the bill, please? I'm going to the next table. I was just giving, like, joking and like acting like I was giving attention, but not.
Yeah.
There was a guy from another guy in the same team, was from Colombia. He was different. He was bartender, and also he was going to the table sometimes when we were so busy. He was helping, and he was very warm. So I think that's very relative. It depends of your personality, and culture as well can have some influence.
I see.
Yeah, it's complicated to generalize this kind of things, because there are people from different backgrounds and
that's it. Okay. Yeah, but usually women have to deal with that more often, right? Like men hitting on them and wanting to take liberties and everything. And I see that Vanessa, you learned how to deal with that well. You became playful. You know how to dodge it and to not let it affect you. But how did you learn it? And Annie, I want to know from you too. Like, how do you feel about that?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Because women tend to be more hit on. Like I get hit on very, very frequently. And usually when I am is by men. So men are stupid in in every environment. I don't know. I'm kidding. But yeah, you have to deal with that, to learn how to deal with people hitting on you and everything. And how do you deal with that?
I think I act naturally, and I think, yeah, I don't care so much about this, and try to act naturally, and so it's that.
I see. What about you, Vanessa? What can you teach us?
Well, it depends on the situation again. because I was working in a restaurant, and I also used to work in a nightclub before, which was even worse. But I was in a position where I had men to protect me. The staff, like the team, they were working with me, and they were saying, "Look, that happens sometimes. If it happens, we're gonna be here. If you need help, you can call me." They were very supportive. So in this situation, I could act like this. I just learned how to handle, don't show myself bothered, like go away, ask someone else for help. But I think if I'm in a situation that I am in a club and someone is, for example, being unrespectful with me, disrespectful with me, I am going to be like, I don't know, I can be rude sometimes. I can call the security. I'm not doing so well, like if in another environment, you know, like like it depends. Like if the guy is being like polite, I'm joking and everything. Then after when he's directed, I'm saying, no, I'm not interested. You're a nice guy, okay, but I'm not interested, and then I'll go away. But if the guy is like being those kind of guy who is pushing, I can be rude.
What are you saying?
I remember once I was in Australia. It was really nice because they were very supportive, like about the security. They have a lot of laws. Like if you mess a girl inside a club or a bar, like you are banned from there, you know. And the guys feel really afraid of that. And once I was one guy was like bothering me so much, me and my friends, and he was coming every time to our table, and he was drunk, and he was almost like on the table, like so close to us. And then it was like the third time he was coming, and I just looked at him and said, "Hey, if you come here again, I'm gonna call the security because you bother me." And he didn't come anymore because that made him really afraid. He knew he knew what would happen. Well, here in Brazil, I'm often like all the times I was at somewhere, I was with a lot of people, so I could just push people out, and that's it. I never had any trouble. But yes, we have some awkward situations, and I see myself forced to be rude, like and like a little bit more tough, and like even push people away, like, hey.
I see.
In this cases, I always use my friends with like a shield, you know.
Have a friend. I can
Yeah.
borrow your friend. You can have a friend in your pocket, like you protect yourself. Paulo and Gus, I realized something one of these days. Actually, I was talking about feeling safe in the streets and walking by myself, and I completely forgot. I was actually talking to Vanessa here at the coffee club, and I was saying, "Hey, that's a nice neighborhood." I was talking about a neighborhood in São Luís, Gus, where I'm from, where most of us are from, and I said, "Oh, that's a nice neighborhood. I used to walk by myself, and I didn't feel threatened in any way." And then Vanessa said, "That's because you're a man." No?
Yeah.
I hadn't realized that. I like sometimes I forget to put myself in women's shoes, you know, and it must be very annoying, at least, to feel observed and feel potentially attacked. And I realized that sometimes when I was walking on the streets, I would look at women who were coming in my direction, and I would like look at in their eyes, and like, why am I doing that? What do I think it's gonna happen? Is she gonna stop and give me her number out of nowhere without any context? So like sometimes the woman stares at me and I stare back, but I'm avoiding doing that now, you know, because I don't want her, I don't want them to feel this pressure all the time that someone's observing them. Like, let them be, you know. I'm trying to put myself in your shoes a bit more.
Yeah, it's like it's really annoying that this is something which bothers me a lot in here. when I go to a place and like there is a lot of guys looking at me like that bothers me a lot. And I was hanging out with some coffee lovers like a few weeks ago, like Luciano and the guys at Confusion.
By the way, Gus, every month we're having Fusion, which is our meeting at coffee places. Actually, Vanessa, maybe there's time for him to be an ambassador, like.
Yeah.
Floripa.
We are, Gus, we are meeting people once a month for a coffee we are practicing our English exactly like we are doing right here, right now, but in a coffee place. We invite friends and people who are already in the coffee club. So if you want to do it next Saturday, is going to be the next one.
Yeah, I would love that, guys. Actually, I can visit you guys in Curitiba. I have family there as well, so that's not gonna be a problem. And that would be great if I can start something similar here in Floripa. Just like maybe just bring more people here. Sorry, guys. Juice.
They're making juice or grinding coffee.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like, you can discuss it. Maybe you can come visit me this Saturday, and Gus and Paul, do it yourself. Maybe this time or next time. Let's discuss it later.
Anyway, so yeah, what I was saying that is
but first,
I'm
not coming back here. Too noisy, right? Yeah, working at coffee places is nice, but only if you're wearing headphones. If you have to go into a meeting, it just doesn't work because they grind coffee all the time, and there's juice and everything. But I was explaining to Gus that after infusion, we usually hold confusion, which is a second event in which you drink beer, not coffee anymore.
Yeah.
And in that one, you can speak any language.
Great. I mean, definitely. Yeah, just let me know the day.
Very nice. At least when we are doing here in São Luís, it's always nice. We always have good conversations during the infusion and confusion, with coffee and after with beer.
So Vanessa,
we tried to organize a confusion here in Campinas.
And you didn't do it yet? How dare you? You're not. I'm gonna fire you as an ambassador in Campinas. Like, I'm kidding.
Vanessa, I don't know about you, but every time I was walking on the streets in São Luís, I always avoid to stay with my hair like this. How can I say? I always put up my hair. Yeah, because I don't know. I was afraid about it could happen something and some get my hair, and stop me to run. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe because you heard some story.
Yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't walk so much in here because I used to have a car before moving. I used to have a car, so yeah, I'm not a person like who used to walk and who's used to get a public transport. But I had some problems about. So I had some situations where I was really afraid, and that gave me even like a little bit anxiety about walking on the street by myself. And yeah, luckily nothing like very bad happened to me, but it was a really scary situation. And sometimes even nowadays I don't feel comfortable if you tell me like, Vanessa, can you go to the main streets? I mean the avenue. Is avenue?
Avenue.
To the avenue, because I used to call road avenue. Yeah, do you want to go to avenue? It's like 700 meters from my home, and I'm not going. I'm going by car. It's just 700 meters, but I'm not going by walking.
I remember my sister used to do that too. when she became a teenager, like, and near a house we had this little market in which there was a bar. Usually there were men drinking in the market. So if you wanted to buy some rice, you had to go through a bunch of men. And she was very afraid of going, and I was telling her to go anyway, like
You are so bad.
to face her fears. But I understand it must be very annoying. If it were the other way around, I would also be bothered and uncomfortable. Like if women hit on me every time I went there, or kept on looking at me or staring at me, I would feel uncomfortable. So I can relate. But you were talking about feeling safe on the streets, yes. So Paulo,
Yeah.
Paulo, do you have any story or comment on that?
I think no. Actually, no. But I just avoid to walk on the street at night, for example. If I have cell phone, and I really don't know.
Yeah. Do you have a sister, or you live with your grandmother, right?
Yeah.
And your mother too?
Exactly.
So is there what's your perspective on the benefits and struggles of being a woman?
So I think you can really learn their perspective. So you learn how to, for example, how to feel safer in some situations, and what you don't need to. So what you aren't supposed to do. Get it? As a man.
I see. And you were raised by them. Were you raised by your father too?
Yeah, raised by them.
By your father too?
No, he's not so present.
And how do you think it affects who you became?
So I don't think it affects too much, really, because he's not how can I say, he's not a good goal. I don't think it's the right expression.
What do you mean?
No, he's not a good example.
What example?
No, he's not a good example. For example, he's not a leader. I can't follow all the restrictions from him.
Yeah, but like I'm actually talking about how being raised by women affected you. Like, what did it teach you about being a man?
So, yeah, I think you can learn the perspective of women, some things, but it doesn't affect, I think, our personality. Get it?
I believe it does. Like, actually, everything does, right?
Yeah.
So, doing or not doing anything, or having something done or not done to you, affects who you become. Because there's less or more lessons, less or more traumas, or less or more kind of drives installed in the way you think, right?
Yeah.
And, I was raised mostly by my mother. Like, my father, no, actually I was raised by both, I have to be fair. And but my mother, and I'm reluctant to say this because maybe that's that's kind of sexist, but I see many people talking about that still, about masculine and feminine energy. And my mother has what you can call a very masculine energy. So she would always take the lead while my father would be on the couch. So she would do. You cannot call it a masculine energy. It's a feminine energy. It's her energy, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense. But it's how people usually refer to it. And she would build stuff. She would build our house. She would solve the problems in the house. She would buy things that we needed. She would take us to the hospital. And my father would provide, but not even most of it. So like, I kept on seeing that dynamic, and it really affected how I was raised. And it's crazy that we sometimes do the opposite. Even my father was telling me one of these days. Okay, let me tell you this long story. My father told me, sent us a text, like a long text that someone else wrote, and those texts that you forward on WhatsApp. And it was about a father who had been had given discipline to his son, in the sense of complaining about everything that was wrong and making sure his son always cleaned up after him and organized his room. And then his son hated that, but then he got into a job interview and he started looking at things around him like, oh, this is broken, let me fix it. Like, this is on the ground, let me put it back where it's supposed to be. And then he got the job right away because people saw him in the cameras, and there was a lesson of the text that these disciplinary actions make you a better person even though you don't like it. And then my father was very disciplinary, even physically, and he would be very strict about, okay, you have to study. Getting 10 is your obligation, like as a job. Your job is being a student, and study every day. You have everything you need. All you have to do now is study. You don't have to do what we had to do. Like, you don't have to live. You have a very privileged life. You don't have to live what we lived as a child or teenager. So this was like his common speech. And then I thanked him, because I tend to be grateful for positive and negative things. Like when he sent me that text, I said, thank you, Father, for being disciplinary and for teaching me valuable lessons. And then he said, it wasn't enough, because you don't have a formal job. I always told you to stay at home and you're traveling. Like your brother has a lot of skills and he's not using them properly. And he would comment about each of my siblings and what we did wrong. And I thought that conversation was over, because it kept on coming. It keeps on coming over and over. Like, you should work for the government. You should get a firm ground, like financially. And have a similar relationship with your father, Gus? You're going to tell us about that in a second. And then I said, okay, Dad, enough with that talk. We've been doing that for too long now. And when you have an intention as a parent, or as a person in general, but in this case as a parent, you don't know what's going to happen, actually. Okay, my intention is for my son to study and get a job in the government. This is your intention. And I'm grateful for your intention, but it's not my fault that I decided not to do it. You know, it's not a responsibility, but not my fault. Because maybe you talking too much about it made me hate it. And I'm thankful for you making me hate it, because I wouldn't like to work on that now. Maybe when you're telling me to stay at home and to not go anywhere, I was listening to the opposite. I was listening, hey, travel the world. You have to explore the world. And I'm thankful for that, because now we created a world traveler, you know, and maybe you wouldn't have if you hadn't complained so much about me leaving the house. So I'm thankful for everything we decided to do, because you told us so, or because you told us not to do it. And he stopped talking about that. I hope that was the last time. But why did I start talking about that? Oh, and I mentioned that because sometimes we do the opposite. And my mother, she was very proactive always. She was always hardworking, and she would always help people. And I became like a lazy person. I was the opposite of her, and I was raised mostly by her because then my father, like, they split up, and she was this active woman, and she wondered, why aren't you like me? Why don't you like go? Why don't you know how to withdraw money at the bank? And I told her repeatedly, Mom, because you don't let us. You do everything. You do everything we need to. Like, don't do it. Like, if she told me, hey, Gustavo, put this pen right here, and I said, okay, I'll do that in a second, and then she did it. Like, hey, I told you I was gonna do it.
My mother is the same.
Same. And then that builds in you this idea that you don't have to do it because someone else to do it for you, and then it becomes this lazy ass, this bag of bones that does nothing. And I told her, Mom, I have to leave the house. I cannot live with you for too long because I want to grow up, and you don't let us grow up. You're always doing it before we try to even think about doing it. I'm only going to grow up if I don't live with you, And we're having conflict, constant conflict because of this and other stuff. And I was sure that when I left, our relationship would be better. And it was. It is now. So what is something that your mother told you to do and you did the opposite? Gus, you want to share your story about your parents?
Yes, absolutely. Let me know if my mic starts cutting off, guys, please. It's funny, I have a very similar father and mother as you, Gustavo. We share the same name, and then we share the same parents, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
like coffee,
yes.
like wearing black.
Of course, yeah. So my mother always was this way. She always wanted to provide us the best in life, but by doing that, she never let us, take the main part, participate like the main role in our family. So she always the one who will do things like deal with the problems, deal with financing, everything pretty much. And my father, so my mom, she is a work for the government as well. She works. She worked. She's retired now, but she worked for IBAMA, right? And my father, he was the one who stayed home, taking care of us. And so they inverse the pattern of roles, right? In a general family in Brazil, the father is the one who goes work, and the mother is the one who keeps us like taking care of the child in the house, right? So in my family, that was totally opposite, and then I felt like growing up that my father always tend to look like the negative points, the negative side of things. So which is super funny because my mother is the one who always pushed me to go forward. And I remember when I started college, I wanted to do my first internship, and I asked her. She was okay with it. She was super happy. And my father was like, "You're gonna waste so much money on this trip. You're gonna like spend 3 months in the US working, and this is gonna give you nothing back." And I was very impressed from his reaction. And this was the first trigger that started me to developing like my language, like learning English for the first time, And then I came back, and then a year after, still in college, I've applied to this scholarship to study abroad again in the US. And my father again, he told me, "You're gonna spend like a year in the United States, like doing nothing. You're so close to graduation. What are you gonna do there?" Like looking the total negative side of the things. because this will delay my graduation for a year. And he basically didn't agree with it. So, and my mother, she was super happy. She's super supportive. And I feel this kind of pressure, by taking choices that actually the contrary that my father expect me to make. And it was hard. It was hard to accept that, that my father wasn't a supportive person at all. It's very hard. So I open my heart to you guys. Excuse me for that.
Please do it.
And then, yeah, so this internship, I spent a year in the US. It was an amazing time. And that actually helped me to get my first job in this huge company here in Brazil, marketing related company, Resultados Digitais. And if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be able to be where I am today. My father, again, disagreed with me. I graduated engineer, started working with marketing and sales, calling people all the time. He was telling me, hey, you look like a telemarketer. Did you study 6 years to become a telemarketer? And again, he's pushing me down, and it was super hard, super hard. But then finally, 4 years later, here I am. I work for a US-based company. I'm making really good money, very happy where I am right now, and very stable life. I have a very stable life and everything. And I couldn't be more proud of myself. And even still, my father, he knows everything. He knows that I'm okay, but he still thinks with a little bit of regret that I didn't become the engineer that he always dreamed of. And I guess that's something we will never agree after all. So yeah, that's kind of my story with my father and mother.
Yeah. I wasn't raised by my father as well. So my mom take care of everything, and I learned so much with her because she was working and take care of me, and sometimes I was alone at home, and I had to learn cooking and take care of the house, and that this experience made me so, I was 12, but my mind was older than that, and I have this sense of responsibility since I was a little girl because of her and because of the situation too.
Tell me more, Annie. I want you to pour your heart out too.
Sorry?
I want you to pour your heart out. You know that? Pour your heart out.
Oh, okay.
Talk more about the way you were raised. So were you raised about your father too?
No. I just found that he was my father actually when I was 11, and until before that I didn't know who was
he was
my father. Yeah.
But you knew him. You didn't know
I
that
knew
he
was him. Yeah.
Wow, that's like a soap opera story.
Yeah.
I am your
knew him, but yeah, I think that he knew about that, and we don't have this good relationship until now.
Until now,
I'm not. Yeah,
still
until
have
now.
a good relationship with him.
Yeah, no. I don't usually speak with him. He was not in my life, and he don't know about my victories. I think he didn't know that I graduated and I'm a chemical engineer now, and we don't have this relationship. And I have two brothers that for a long time I thought that we are just friends, you know, and then I find out that we are
Your brothers.
brothers and
Wow. Yeah, siblings.
siblings. Yeah, siblings. And yeah, but we don't treat each other like siblings, you know. We know
Just
that we are, but we don't just they don't do part of my life and me neither of them. So it's complicated, but yeah, I'm fine with that, you know.
are you still friends?
Me, my brothers.
Yes.
I would not say friends, but we know each other and respect each other.
I see. You know you exist.
Yeah.
And so you were raised by only your mother, right?
Yeah.
And what do you think that taught you about being a woman?
So much because I learned that I could do anything and I didn't had to be with a man to do something, you know. I could be anything and do anything and be strong and take care of myself and provide the things that I need and yeah, be independent, you know.
I see. Vanessa, you seem tired and sad at the same time.
Me?
Yeah. Are you sleepy?
No, I'm a little bit sleepy. I think every afternoon I feel like this, but I'm paying attention.
Okay. Did you get any coffee?
Yes.
Does coffee help you feel more awake? I never
Helps
feel
me
the effect.
It helps me to feel more awake, but I also don't like to get so much coffee because I feel anxious.
Because what?
It also makes me feel anxious.
I see. Annie, I didn't even comment so much about what you said about letting your hair tied up instead of loose, because it would be another way for a person to track you, and that was so disturbing. You know, like how do we live in a society in which you have to think about that? So I'm not gonna give another opportunity for someone to grab me. Wow.
Yeah.
And I cannot begin to understand the difference between being a man and a woman here, you know, because I will have, I'm sure, no problem in having a long hair because I'm letting my hair grow now, and I wouldn't consider that now. Actually, I can have an ugly hair. I cannot take care of my hair. I can have yeah, I said an ugly hair, and I don't have to worry about letting it loose or tying it up. It's just up to me, and you have to worry about these things. You know? What about aesthetics? Sorry, Vanessa.
I was about to tell you, I'll tell you how it's growing as a woman. You grow with people telling you every time you are going out, be careful. Don't use these clothes. Not because not because of judgment. Sometimes it's not because of judgment. Sometimes it is, sometimes not. Sometimes it's just because they're trying to protect you because they know what can happen. I remember I was teenager and I was going to party and my mother was often saying to me, for example, I was using a cloth with like was a little bit open in here. It was like putting my hair in front of like she was, can't you use another top? Does it have to be this one? She was putting my hair like exactly like this, like at least put your hair in here. Like she was doing that not for judging, not saying like, oh, this is not a good clothes for you, but she was worried about like how men could react to that clothes I was using. So that's how it is like growing as a woman. You feel like you have to protect yourself every time about everything. your hair has to be like this because probably Annie heard someone saying that to her. Like, oh, look, like walk with your hair like this because I know a story of a girl who was like the guy was trying to hold her from her hair.
Yeah, but also it's where women go when they fight, right? They usually pull each other's hair, so you can also get protected from women.
Yeah.
Have you ever fought, girls, with someone like?
I did actually. Yeah, I was oh, sorry. Oh, that's for him. Sorry about that.
No.
Yeah, it was for them. But if they didn't, you can tell us your story too.
Yeah.
Did you fight a woman, Gus? No, he was a man.
I think it was a man.
Tell us about that.
I was like 11, 10 years old. It was back in school. I remember it was about a girl. Classic, right? And
Yeah.
it was I was kind of in love with this girl, and she was kind of hanging out with someone older, like two grades older than ours, and I got jealous, and then I told her, and then this guy confronted me, and then he kicked me, and then I hit him with my fist. I actually broke his nose.
Wow.
And yeah, but I also hurt my hand as well. I'm very skinny, so when I hit him, I broke my hand. So I paid the price as well. Yeah, that's my goal.
The action and reaction, right? Yeah.
No problem.
I also had fights over girls. Actually, it was just one or twice. I was always that guy who liked the one girl in the classroom and would never tell her, and everyone would know but her, and never, nothing happened. Actually, I had the chance sometimes, but I was kind of afraid, so nothing ever happened. And but I remember there was this girl I liked, and she invited me to go to her birthday in a farm, in a very far away place. There was like nature around it. And then she also invited this other guy who studied with us from our class. Not guy, like boy, right? They were like 7 or 8. And then he was like, actually he started saying like she was his, like she's mine. And now, I rebutted, and oh, she's mine, and we were like pushing each other. That's so crazy. Like, how can you fight over a woman like she's an object? What do you feel about that, Dose?
You should say like, I'm not yours, guys. I'm myself, you know.
Yes, I'm mine. I'm nobody's. But how do you feel, guys, if a man fights another over you? Is that an honor or
No,
just?
That's weird.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's not a cool situation. You know what happened to me when I was younger? There were two guys fighting for me at my school. I was like 11 or 12 years old. And nowadays they both are gay. and they kissed each other.
Wait,
they told me that.
They are a couple?
No, they are not a couple, but they had an affair. That's it. Because they stayed with me when I was like, we were around 11, 12 years old, and they were both interested in me, and I was not interested in any of them. But they were fighting because I don't know why, for some reason I was friend of both of them, but for some reason they thought if they would fight for me, some of them could have something with me, and I was just a child. Like, what is going on? They stopped talking to each other because of me.
And you're like, what's going on, guys?
Yeah, I was like, what is going on? That anytime I said I would like, I would be with any of them, like, you know, they were doing that. And anyway, like they grew up, they became friends again. They you know,
A modern
because
friend.
just a childhood thing, you know, childish thing. And last year, like no, it was this year. This year we had a party from people like who graduate from my school. Everyone who graduated from my school, we had a 10 years graduation party, and it was quite nice. And they were talking to me, and so we had a T-shirt, and we were writing things in each person T-shirt, and they were writing
Here's
at me
my-
like my love from like 5th grade. I don't know, 5th grade. I don't know how we call in English.
It's great.
From
Yeah.
quinta série. Yeah, grade, from something grade. No, I just don't know the number of quinta série because it's not the same.
Yeah, but it's if you translate, like you're talking about the Brazilian system, so you just say it in English. 5th
Yeah,
grade.
my love from 5th grade. Most beautiful girl from 5th grade. They both were writing this on my T-shirt.
Mm.
And they were saying, you know, Vanessa, you know what happened? We were fighting because of you, and nowadays we both are gay, and we even kissed each other in a party last year. And I was like, oh, really?
You're gonna be the maid of honor if they marry, like, because you got
Yeah.
them to touch. They touch each other for the first time because of you.
Yeah, it was funny when they told me that. I was like, I can't believe that. I mean, I knew both of them, they were gay nowadays, but I didn't remember this story. I didn't make this connection.
There was this guy who hated me back in school. He was my friend. He was in my group, like in a friend group, my group of friends. But he kept on bullying me and going after the girls that I liked. And he was very bold, and he would touch them. And I was jealous. And I was always the romantic, like writing letters and being cautious, and he was like being touchy and hugging them and everything. Hey, stop touching them; they are precious. Like, and I don't know if he's gay today, but it looks like he is. But he told me that he was jealous. He told me years later, in college, that we met there. Like, we were both adults. And he was very different now. As a child, he was bold. He wasn't afraid of anything. He was a bully. And then as an adult, he became like anxious and introverted and distant. I don't know what happened, but maybe. And also, he told me he did that because he was jealous of me for some reason. And yeah, it's crazy how our adulthood is basically to fight off the traumas from childhood, and lots of them happen in school.
Mm.
Drink water. Paulo keeps on leaving.
Yeah, I think his connection is not good.
I have a question for you guys. I even asked you this, Vanessa, in a different conversation, but now we can go deeply into that. About fighting girls, because girls fought a man, and I never fought a girl either. But I've seen these videos on 9gag. You know, 9gag is a place for videos and news and memes, and you can learn a lot and see things in different categories, and you can learn a lot of English. There too, I recommend you check it out. 9gag. And I've seen some videos there of girls bullying boys, or or harassing boys, or even women harassing men, or like those crazy women that are drunk in supermarkets, or those Karens. You know, there's a character that was created of this American woman, this American blonde, 50-year-old lady that complains about everything and calls the manager because of everything. And they look down on people and scream at their faces as if they're nothing. So this is a Karen. So we see there, not only that, of course, but we see there these kinds of women often. And then in some of these videos, usually boys, they punch these girls who are bullying them. And the comments are mostly equality. Like, yeah, she deserves it. She did it, and now she deserves to get a rebuttal. You know, she deserves to be attacked back. Or maybe when the girl punches the boy first, and then he punches back. What do you think of that? Should a man fight back when a woman attacks him? Annie, what do you think?
No, I don't think that it's a good option. That's a good thing. I always try to avoid, fight and everything. But when you hit a woman, that is, because we have this kind of structure, and the people think we are fragile and weak, but yeah, we can fight with men too. But is there a question of respect the other person? Though no matter if they are women or men, but I think that there would be respect by the other person, the other human. And yeah, of course, there are times that you wanted to hit someone on the face because you are angry, but you have to control. And I don't think that is fair.
It's fair. Okay, but what if like you just punched a guy? Hi Talia, can you hear us?
Hi.
You can? I thought you weren't coming.
No, my computer was just taking a long time to work. It just had to update.
So you're talking straight from your job, from your skate shop?
Yeah, I have to work today, but they said I could open the store late, and then so I'm just this is my store.
So nice.
Thank you.
Nice. Talia, I just asked the girls a question. We're talking about the benefits and struggles of being a woman.
Yeah.
And I told them about some videos I've been seeing on 9gag, which is, 9gag is a website for videos and memes. And
no, I don't know it, but
in these videos, some girls, they're like very aggressive, and they punch a boy. And then the boy punches the girl back. And I'm asking them, should a boy punch a girl back if she's very, very aggressive first?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if I punched a guy, then that's an invitation for them to punch me back. I think some people will get upset at the guy, but if you're in a situation where somebody is endangering you, you have a right to, stand up for yourself. Hopefully they can be like not as aggressive as the girl, because and like just stop her or restrain her, but it's not because she's a girl. It's just that you want to de-escalate the situation in general.
I see. Yeah, like most of the comments are like in these posts are regarding that, like equality, like she punched you, punch her back, we're equal now. And of course you have to have in mind that being stronger and or weaker, but that's not necessarily related to your sex or your gender, which are different.
Like, I mean, in general, guys are usually a little bit taller and just like are built to be muscular in a different way than women, but I'm a tall girl who's way stronger than most of the guys I know. So I feel like I play rugby. So part of the sport is being able to hit people really hard. So I do know how to hurt somebody. Like, I don't ever want to do that to anyone on purpose other than in a sports setting. But like if I did that, like I said, I feel like it's an invitation for it to be returned.
Yeah. And have you been in a fight before?
Me, no. I'm actually a really non-confrontational person. I play a really weird sport for my personality. I'd rather get hurt than hurt somebody else. So I don't think I'll ever be in a fight.
So you make those kind of decisions in sports, in the sport. So
yeah, like in a setting of rugby, it's like never my intent to hurt anyone. It's just to play the game well. So there's a lot of respect between players. I mean, it is an aggressive sport, and like there's been times where I wanted to hurt somebody, but that's kind of the only that's the only time probably is once somebody has really hurt me or really hurt somebody on my team or played really dirty, because in rugby there is rules to like lower the risk of getting hurt and to play so that you're not like injuring somebody for the rest of their life. Like you have to tackle low, you can't tackle their head, but people will play dirty or they'll like kick you with their cleat on purpose because cleats have like those sharp bottoms. So if somebody's playing like that, I'll tackle them.
What is a cleat? Can you
a cleat? It's like a type of shoe that athletes wear on when you're running on grass, and it has the spikes on the bottom to like dig into the grass. But yeah, they're a little bit like, they're kind of weaponized on the bottom, you could say, for a sports shoe. So
how do you spell that?
Cleat? This is how I imagine it spelled, but I'm not sure if this is right. K-L-E-E-T-E. But here, let me look that up.
Cleat.
No, that's not. That's a name.
Yeah.
Cleats is C-L-E-A-T-S.
C-L-E-A-T-S.
Yeah, C-L-E-A-T-S. Cleats.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you first get into rugby?
There like a team just started at my school, which like we don't have a lot of rugby, or I didn't know we had rugby teams around here. And I've always been somebody, like I tried every single sport. I've done gymnastics, I've done basketball, I've done baseball, I've done ski racing, I've done biathlon, which is cross country skiing and shooting a gun. I've I've done trail running. I've done swimming, diving, like anything I could try, I wanted to try because I really I just like sports in general. But then I tried rugby, and that was like the sport that I wanted to do professionally.
I see.
Yeah, I just really fell in love with it. And I got to play at really high levels in my first year. Like I went to provincials, was probably my first actual game ever. I just kind of hopped on a bus right after starting, and I actually ended up playing really well because I was so afraid of like the other girls. I ran so fast. I like scored a lot just because I was running away from everyone.
So you're non-confrontational, so you run away from them and you won the game.
I wouldn't say that's how I play in rugby, though. I am mostly a tackler in rugby.
So
I play lock. Yeah, I was running away that first time because I'd never played before, but then eventually, like, probably my favorite score I made in that game was somebody tackled me from behind, but they didn't tackle very well, so they were just holding onto my legs, and I like ran. I still had half the field to go, and I ran with them holding onto my legs, and like I just dragged them across the field, but I still scored. So I was really happy with that.
Wow, must be exciting. Do you wear any kind of protective gear?
In rugby, we don't wear anything other than a mouth guard, because once you have one protective piece of equipment, then you need everything, because of like, it's hard. If you have shin pads, then you need to protect your like sternum and your stomach so that somebody's not hitting you with a hard piece of plastic. And research shows that mouth guards are the best protection against concussions. like helmets are good for actual like skull damage, but because you bite down on your mouth guard, it like stops your neck from twisting back quite as much, and so it'll stop the actual internal injury. But I've had multiple concussions, so if I have one more, then I'm not allowed to play anymore. So
if you have one more,
Oh,
never be allowed to play
Oh my God.
again.
Oh my God.
What is a concussion? Can you describe how it happens or what you feel?
So I've had like 4 or 5, 2 from rugby, and then a couple from just being a fairly unintelligent child. Some from like a game of tag where everyone who was running away was blind, so you just closed your eyes and ran away from somebody. And I ran into a fence, but not just the fence. I ran into a metal pole holding up the fence.
Wow.
So that one, like, and these were all very little concussions, but then it made, when I had a rugby concussion, I've had 2 rugby concussions. One was just out of practice. I was going to be on the BC Summer Games, like I was going to be an alternate. And BC Summer Games are basically provincial summer Olympics. So for BC, but I was going to be a camp counselor that summer, so I couldn't anyways, but they just invited me to go practice with the team. And I ran into a girl's shoulder instead of actually tackling her. And then that one was like not really bad, but I immediately like threw up and I couldn't see straight. So it like I had very clear concussion symptoms, but I felt better like 3 days later, sort of thing, which means you have a very mild concussion. And then the one that was actually like I missed a couple months of school was at rugby provincials, or not provincials. It was a tournament in Kamloops, which is a city in the Okanagan. Like, I think it was like a 9-hour bus ride or something.
I see. Gus is
and-
asking if BC is in Canada. Yeah, right. Talia is from Canada. Gus, BC is British Columbia. What is it?
Yes, British Columbia. But lots of people think of it just as the coast. I'm actually pretty inland. Like I'm 8 hours away from the ocean.
I see. So that's where you live.
Yeah, I live in a town called Rossland. It just snowed for 2 days straight, so it's like winter outside. Look it up if you look it up online. It's really beautiful, and it's a ski town, so we get to do lots of winter activities. It's a good place to be. It's
so all those
tiny,
skates
though.
are not actual roads are for snow. The skates that you sell, are they for snow or for the road?
No, this is a board shop. So if you look, I'll spin you around. It just means we carry snowboards and skateboards. The snowboards are in the back. I don't know if you can see some of those.
Cool.
But yeah, this is all winter stuff we have in right now. And then that's outside.
I love snowboarding.
Yeah, come visit. I'll take you to our ski hill.
I want.
There you go. Rossland, right?
Yeah, ROSSLAND.
LAND.
D.
Oh, Rossland.
Yeah, land. The guy who found it named it after himself. His last name was Ross, and then he added a land to it.
Is it that?
Yeah.
I live
on Ross Road.
This is my land, so Ross land.
Yeah, he really liked himself, actually.
Yeah.
You can tell.
If you named a city after your name, it would be funny. Thailand.
Thailand. It kind of sounds like Thailand. I feel like there's already a whole country named after me.
Thailand. Sounds like you are la 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 land, like just land at the end.
Yeah.
Let's go La La Land. La La Land. Right?
La La Land. Yeah, there's a song called. That was a song I really liked when I was like 10.
So Gus, you have comments on Canada? You've been to the US. Did you visit Canada?
Yeah, I'm studying to go there next year.
To Canada?
Graduation. Yeah, definitely.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's a long-term plan, but since the COVID, everything is shut down here in Brazil. All all centers for visa application. So I just have to wait that to work out again, so I can go.
Yeah. I have to wait to come back for everything to open up.
You come back here?
Yeah. I need to come back. I missed, because of COVID, I had to come home 3 months early. So I'm going to definitely come back and then make up those 3 months as soon as possible.
How's your Portuguese? Have you been practicing?
Yeah, I mean, I still talk with people, and it's kind of funny when I'm angry or when I'm working out, my brain switches to Portuguese still, which I think is pretty fun.
Oh my God.
You curse like in Portuguese when you're angry.
Yeah, I'm right now I'm learning Danish and like keeping up with Spanish. So, because I'd love to do school in Denmark, actually. My dad's mom's side is Danish. So and the education system is really amazing there. Love to do university level courses in Denmark. So I'm trying to speak it because my dad would speak it to us when we were little. And then we went to an all French school. So like he stopped speaking Danish so that we could learn French because we didn't speak it, but we were going to a school that only spoke French. And then I have one set of cousins on my dad's side who like their dad just always taught them Danish. And then I have another set of cousins whose father is from Colombia, so they stopped teaching them Danish to learn Spanish when they were children. So we all have different languages that we spoke when we were kids at home.
I mean, Colombia, like in South America.
Yeah, he's my uncle, but not by blood, by marriage. But we're hoping to go to Colombia, like as a family. And we were gonna go this year, but obviously that's not happening. So we were thinking in like a year or something like that, once everything opens up, hopefully.
I see.
Yeah, Talia, where do you live? They just speak English or French too?
So where I live, it's like British Columbia is an English-speaking province. But in Canada in general, we have 2 national languages, French and English. So there is usually communities of French-speaking people no matter where you go. My town is pretty small, like you wouldn't think there's a lot of French people here, but we actually have a lot of Australian people who live in Rossland and a lot of French Canadian people. So we have a really small French Canadian school that when people started arriving and saw that there was a community of French speaking people, they wanted their kids to go to a school that spoke French. My parents weren't French. My mom is from Alberta, which is probably the most English-speaking province in Canada, and my dad is Danish Estonian, but he went to a French immersion school. He grew up in Ontario, so he could speak enough French that they let us into the school because my parents thought that would be a good opportunity for me and my sister.
Wait, they spoke enough French that they let you into the school? What do you mean?
You have to speak French to get into the school because your child is going to a school that's completely in French. Mm-hmm. All our homework is in French. Like you would get in trouble if you spoke English at school. So they have to know that there's some form of support at home so that your kid, because in kindergarten, I'd need help with French because I was starting to learn French. There's some kids who already spoke it because their parents, that's the language they speak at home. And then there's other kids who didn't.
I see.
Yeah.
That's very different from here because very hardly do our parents speak the language we're learning.
Yeah.
We don't have a support at home, only our native language, only Portuguese.
For me, do I have support at home?
No, I mean, I'm saying that.
Oh, yeah.
Hardly ever do we speak the language we learn outside the house, in the house.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. Do you know, guys, if any schools in Brazil do that? The parents must speak the language that the child is learning. Because we do have bilingual schools, English only, but the parents mostly don't speak the language, so there's no support. However, the kids do learn to speak it, either way.
Yeah, I think the reason why the school is like that is because, the rules are a little bit more relaxed now, but before it was because it was a school specifically for French-speaking families. like they started it for the group of them. But yeah, that is really unusual because there's not a lot of Francophone schools. There's a lot of immersion schools though. Like there's a couple. The school district that runs that is just like nationwide because they just run a couple. Like there's one here and then there's one in a city like 45 minutes away called Nelson. So they're kind of spread out. But yeah, that isn't like a super usual thing that the parents have to speak French.
I see. You mean immersion school like this?
Yeah. So my school is called a Francophone school because it's like only in French, whereas immersion schools is that most of your learning is in French, but you're being immersed in French because that's not like a first language for you. And so you're learning French, whereas like our school is you're learning French, but in the way that you already speak French. You're just learning everything in French sort of thing.
I see.
How about the university? They speak French and English, or depends on the province?
Depends on the province. Like usually, there'll be language courses in a school, but the schools in BC, like there's. Hello.
Hello.
We're not open yet.
Oh, aren't you? Oh, what time do you open?
We usually open at 10, but we're opening a little late today.
Oh, are you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I needed a gift certificate. But I can come back.
Yeah, and also we're not quite sure how the gift certificates are working right now, so I can call my boss before you come back and ask.
Okay, all right.
Then I'll let you know.
Okay.
All right. See ya.
Have you got regular hours off during the week though? Monday?
Mondays we're closed, but Tuesday to Sundays we're open.
Tuesday. Okay. All right.
All right. Have a good rest of your day. See you later.
Seems like a nice lady.
Are you open?
No, sorry. The sign does say we're not open right now. But it's okay.
Isn't it better to lock the door?
Yeah, I'll just go lock the door.
That was funny.
Very good.
That was funny.
Okay, I'm back.
Talia, I just noticed that you say the same thing that I do when I say goodbye.
What did I say?
Enjoy the rest of the day.
Yeah, like you say, enjoy your rest of day, actually, right? And I say like a bit different. Enjoy the rest of your day. I just noticed.
Yeah, I said enjoy the rest of your day.
Just
I said that's my customer
that's
service.
fast.
Like goodbye though. Usually I'll say like bye bye, or like if I'm just talking to a friend. But when a customer comes in, says have a lovely rest of your day. Come back soon.
That was me. I was like, no, actually, I was saying, have a lovely day. Thank you.
There was this place here. I don't know if they closed. That they say, "See you tomorrow."
Oh, nice.
That's kind of gets into your head. Like, hey, I wasn't coming here tomorrow, but now that you mentioned,
now I have to, or else I'm letting you down.
Yes.
I might start using that actually.
No, hey.
And there's only 3,000 people in my town, so I probably will see that person tomorrow. You know, even if it's not in the store.
See you tomorrow. Yeah, it's accurate for you. Hey guys, I need to go to the toilet real quick. Throw back. Make a question to.
So Talia, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I having this company because I work in a US-based company and I have this training from David Premier, which is a Canadian.
Okay.
And I noticed that every time he speaks about, he says about, which is kind of the accent, right? What other like different words do you guys have in Canada that differs from English, like British English, and US, like American general English?
So our English, like in terms of spelling and everything, is actually the same as British because we are a British colony. Like our queen is still Queen Elizabeth, but we're an independent country, but we don't have a president. That's why we have a prime minister, and then we have a so we're still somewhat attached to Britain, not really. But so in words like color, in the US it's spelled COLOR, whereas in Canada you can get away with spelling it each way, but it is COLOUR. And it's more like we have Canadian English there's accents everywhere. Like in Montreal and Quebec, in that provinces, usually it's a French Canadian accent because they speak French as a first language, so they have a French accent. In New Brunswick and Newfoundland and on that coast, that the Newfie accent is kind of like Scottish almost. Like it's completely different from the rest of Canada.
Give us a sample.
I can't do that. That's like one of the only accents I can't do. But
what is one that you can?
Sadly, I believe that most of them would be considered racist at this point because I learned them when I was really little. So I didn't understand that it would be seen that way. So I used to do an Indian accent a lot. Did it for probably 2 years straight. I do like a Vietnamese lady at a nail store, which is not super politically correct.
Yeah.
And then I do I kind of speak in accents most of the time. I don't speak normally very often. I'm a little quirky that way, you could say. But
you're speaking normally now, right?
Yes, I am. And I'd say, yeah, for other people, I have an accent, but for me, it's really hard to describe what my accent is or how I say words differently, because it's just normal, you know?
Yeah, I'm living in a different state now. I used to live in Maranhão, São Luís, and I'm living in Paraná now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You have been to the south of Brazil?
Yeah, I think part of my district was near Paraná, but I'm trying to think if I know I went to Piauí, and then we did the Nordeste for the actual trip I did. So I don't think I ever really got super close to where you are, but I do know of Paraná.
And also, Gus here lives in the south as well. He lives in Santa Catarina. He is from Floripa, right, Gus?
Yes.
You're born there?
Yeah, I've been here in Floripa is about 12 years, so I really like it here. Yeah. But I did live in other states as well, such as Goiás. It's a kind of very country club, no, sorry about that. Very country situated state.
Yeah.
And then I spent 2 years there, didn't adapt at all. And I like, living close to the ocean.
Me too.
Yeah, that's
I want to.
And you live in Rossland. Right? There's no ocean.
No. I have an ocean of snow right now, though. I'm so excited for the ski season.
A snowshoe, right?
The snowshoe.
I live on a volcano, Rossland, the mountains. It's there's a mountain range, but Rossland is a volcano. It's obviously dead now. Not gonna kill any of us anytime soon, which is good. But yeah, the altitude of Rossland is really high. We're already somewhat up the mountain, but then there's just there's the 7 summits. So we have a chain of 7 mountains around here, and then we have our ski hill is fairly large for the size of our city. There's Red Mountain, Granite Mountain, Paradise. It's a chain of kind of 3 mountains, but we have 5 chairlifts now, I think. Because there's White Wolf, Gray, Paradise, Motherlode, Silverlode, and Red. But Silverlode is just getting up to go up Motherlode.
What does that cost?
So is it expensive to get a season pass for these mountains to go over?
overall, it actually saves you a lot of money because day passes are fairly expensive. But yeah, like it's a couple $100. You can get passes that are called locals passes that you can get like 9 days of skiing for a fairly good price because you're a local. Or in Canada, like in BC, you can get cards that you can use at different ski mountains. Like there's Lake Louise is a really famous ski hill. There's Whitewater. There's from Rossland, you can go to Nelson and they have their own ski hill as well. So you can get passes that'll let you go to a couple, but usually you have to buy day passes if you're going to different mountains. I have a season's pass this year, so I'm really excited about because I've missed 2 seasons. And like I basically started skiing as soon as I could walk. Like that's just kind of how it is here. I started skiing when I was like 3 or something. So, you know, you start early and it's just a very Canadian Rossland thing. Like you start skating and skiing.
So you rather ski than snowboard, or you do both?
I do both. I started skiing, like there's kind of like a divide between snowboarders and skiers. There's a bit, so it's really like I have to pretend that I'm not a skier when I work in this shop. But I love both. They're like fairly different sports, but I skateboard, not well, but I do. And I surfed a lot. Like surfing has always been like a passion of mine, which is really weird because there's not a whole lot of opportunity where I am. But I surfed when I was 6 for the first time. We had a trip to Hawaii and I surfed once and I was like, yep, this is my thing. We'll be doing this. And then my next chance was last year in Brazil. So I'd go like twice a week. And so I really like board sports, but I just started skiing when I was really little.
So, were you surfing in São Luís?
Sorry, what? Yeah, I was surfing in São Luís. Yeah.
How was that?
Because it was really fun. I surfed with like a couple of older guys. I went to a surf school, but then I just ended up being there for almost a year. So it was just like going to hang out with like Alex, and there's like Medina, Alex, Cobra, and
in São Luís?
Yeah. So we just go and surf on the weekends. So I spent my morning.
Surfed with the world champion.
Who?
Like Gabriel
Medina. Yeah.
Oh no, he's not a world champion. That's just his nickname.
Yeah, he didn't.
Oh, I see.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because the Brazilian, no, Gabriel. I think it's Gabriel Medina, right?
Yeah, Gabriel Medina. I watched it. I watched it in Bells Beach.
Oh wow!
Like in person, in Australia.
Yeah.
Wow. Awesome.
That's super cool.
It was really cool. And Italo, I forgot his surname. Italo and Gabriel Medina, but they didn't win.
Didn't win?
No, they didn't win.
Fault. Shouldn't have done.
Italo was at second.
Okay, I'm still proud of him.
Proud. Yeah, I was still proud.
Good. Yeah.
Charlie.
I miss watching sports in Brazil. It's such like, especially like the Flamengo games. My family didn't like soccer in general. So I was like, what is this? I came to Brazil to be part of the culture and you don't like soccer. Yeah. But I just remember like the night there was a really big game while I was there. Like my entire apartment building was shaking. There's like a group of people having a churrasco and watching it on a big like projector by the pool. I was hanging out in my room. I was like, so do you looking forward to the game? And they're like, we're not super into soccer. I was like, what is this? I want to be part of all the fun.
Not real Brazil.
It's an excuse to party.
Yeah, no, I know. It's my family didn't like to party. So they didn't like Carnival and they didn't like soccer. Crazy. Except for then my second family was very Brazilian, like stereotypical Brazilian, and then my last family wasn't, but in a very different way. So I had 3 host families while I was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I mean, I think soccer is more an excuse to party, like most of the time. I mean my mother likes, but she bought, when we bought this home that we're currently living at, she bought with a swimming pool and barbecue just because she wanted my whole family here. Like that was her dream, having a home like this, because she wanted to invite over my whole family. Always thinking about the Cup of the World, like, or another soccer competitions, or like Paris, Paris. My family is really Brazilian.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And what is a Canadian family, Talia? Like how would I be disappointed if I lived with a family in Canada and I was like, oh, this is not a Canadian family?
If they didn't like the snow. But like in Canada, there is cities where it doesn't snow. Where my sister lives, she's going to school at UVic, so in Victoria, which is the capital of British Columbia, and it doesn't really snow there. But they still love the snow. It's like just a Canadian thing. What else? If you didn't have poutine, they didn't always have a jug of maple syrup and real maple syrup in their fridge. No Aunt Jemima's or like butter flavored syrup, maple syrup in the glass jars.
I love maple syrup.
So
good.
Like, I know that it's so stereotypical and Canadian, but I understand why. It is truly really good. We did a good job on that one.
So good.
If like they didn't apologize every 3 seconds, that is true. I've apologized to doors before. Like I walked into a wall and was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, okay, rein it in, Talia. Let's keep going.
Why do you guys do that all the time?
I don't know. Like, I would say that people think of Canada as like the
nicest. Was
it
a Canadian doll? Did it say something back? Was he a real Canadian doll? Did it say something back to you? Like, hey,
no, I know, how rude. It didn't even like say, no, I'm sorry. Yeah.
It wasn't Canadian.
No, it wasn't a Canadian door. It was probably American. Probably from the States. Yeah. I'm trying to think, because probably a pretty typical Canadian thing would be going out drifting. If you didn't meet a group of teenagers who wanted to go drift in the mud with you, go mudding.
What is drifting like?
Doing donuts in a parking lot with your truck. It's a very Canadian thing. And we like taking our trucks to mud bogs and just like drag racing in them. It's pretty redneck. Like where I live, it's a little redneck. I've got to say. If they didn't have a fire pit, if you didn't have like, and potlucks. We have a lot of potlucks.
What is that?
It's dinner parties, but everybody brings food.
Potlucks.
Yes.
Like
P-O-T and then Lux, like L-U-C-K-S.
Oh wait. Lux?
Yeah, potlucks.
Potlucks.
P-O-T. And yeah. We have a lot of potlucks. They're like the Canadian version of a churrasco. We do have barbecues, but if your family didn't get super intoxicated on Canada Day and you weren't at a lake, then you should be disappointed. That getting really drunk at a lake is a very Canadian thing for the day we celebrate Canada. Or on the other hand, you could have a family. Like, I try not to celebrate Canada Day because
When is it?
July 1st.
Oh, nice.
Why? Does it represent like a suffering of some kind of people?
Yes. The Indigenous people of Canada still suffer to this day. Like, it's not super talked about because Canada is seen as this really nice country. We're not. We're white, so we did something wrong. Like that's just kind of assumed. But yeah, like there's still people in Canada without clean drinking water, even though there's no reason. We have like some of like the most fresh water in the world. Like we're really high up there, but there's still people who can't drink their water. Like there's still reserves where Indigenous people live. It's still like police brutality towards Indigenous peoples. But yeah, for like Thanksgiving and Canada Day, I try not to celebrate it in a colonial way where I'm like, yes, we're so patriotic. I love my ancestry, because I'm not super proud of it. And on Thanksgiving is basically the day to celebrate. In Canada, because it's different than the States, is when we had this big like meal with Indigenous peoples, the settlers or like the colonists had a meal, and then right after that they murdered all of them, sent them blankets with chicken pox so that they would die. So basically it's like celebrating us killing them, like, but the dinner before, so that's why it's nice. You know, so it's a little bit like, yeah, hate to throw Canada under the bus, but we need to a little bit. I think lots of Canadians are really nice, but not the history of Canada in the way that it's talked about. Yeah.
I understand. Tell you, I want to know a bit more from you about, because our topic today is like benefits and struggles of being a woman. So what do you feel being a woman in Canada in general? Is that compared to Brazil, did you feel any difference?
Yes, very much so. I have a single mom who is like she works for the government in the child and youth mental health office. So she's a psychologist / therapist. So like there's a lot of it's a very strong, like independent woman household. You know, there's lots of talking about feelings. We get everything done. Where I live is in the middle of the woods. All our heating is like in a wood stove. Like we have some in-floor heating, but that means we're cutting up the trees with the chainsaws and stacking the wood. And like we do everything, me and my mom now, because my sister's somewhere else. So independent women, and it like, and especially just because of the job my mom has, the way she parents me is very different. Like it's a collaboration. If there's a rule going to be set in place, we talk about it. We find a middle ground. I'm part of the parenting. Like it's so that we are both happy. And we have a really good relationship because of that. And like, I respect the rules that my mom puts in place because I think they're reasonable. Whereas some kids listen to the parents no matter what the rules are, whether they think it's reasonable or not. But there is a lot of kids who have super strict parents who end up just being really good at breaking rules and lying about it because they don't respect the rules. They just find ways to break them. But yeah, when I was in Brazil, that was my first time having a dad in a really long time. And like I was property and I wasn't really allowed to have a voice, which I understand is more like cultural than like, especially because it was a very religious household. So it was like he was the matriarch. My mom wasn't the one who I should ask if I could go out or not, which I just naturally did when I first got there because it was more comfortable. And also like I just think woman in charge, which is the complete opposite of what most daughters would think in Brazil. So that was like a steep learning curve, you know, like, and it wasn't, and to me, it felt very sexist, but to them, it just felt normal. And it's not that any of them were bad people. It was just what they were taught growing up and what they thought was normal sort of thing. Like, so if my mother was upset with my father, he would laugh about it. If my father was upset with my mother, she would have to do everything she could to like fix the situation, which to me is really weird. Like that feels like an imbalance because they're both contributing to the money. They're both like, especially they both have maids, so they both do like the equal amount of work in the house. So to me, it was backwards that one person would have more power if there's no like difference in the amount of work they put into the family, sort of thing. So I felt, yeah, it was super different. But I also think part of why being a woman is pretty incredible, and like what we can do as women is pretty incredible, is because it's a little bit difficult to be a woman, and it's even difficult to say it's difficult to be a woman, especially in Canada in this age, because there is still a difference. Like there still is sexism just built into the system, but it's really hard to see. And if you're not a woman, it's hard to understand where they're coming from. So it can be like, oh, well, you're just a feminazi, which is like what people say when you're like pretty feminist. But like being feminist is being egalitarian, is how I see it. I think there is people who take it pretty intensely, but yeah, it is something that needs to be worked on. I feel like women are the right people to work on it, though.
I see. Once I came up with like an analogy to explain why feminism is important, and I don't have anything. Oh, maybe this can help. I even showed you guys once. Like if like you have an object and it has been bent this way for a long time, depending on the material, if you leave it like this, it's not going to go back to what it was. Once you leave it, once you let it go, it's going to come back to this. So in order to fix and make it be like this forever, you have to do this, you know, and bend the other way around. So when you let it go, it comes back to what it's supposed to be in the first place, right? So like you have to it's like also the analogy of the burning house. Like this house is burning. Why am I going to care about your house?
Yeah.
You have to focus on this issue, and so eventually you'll be equal.
I think that there is other issues that need to be focused on right now, like climate change, because if we don't focus on that, there won't even be a world where it can be equal. And like minorities, like I think we need to focus on, in general, making the world an equal place, like whether you're Black, white, Asian, Hispanic, whatever country you live in, like the Uyghur Muslims in China and the indigenous peoples in Canada, and just in general, everything needs to be focused on. Those are all super important to me personally. But I think with that, if you're making it equal for all minorities, then women need to be a part of that.
Fact. Okay. Do you guys have any more questions, Vanessa?
I just like it a lot what she said. Everything.
Can I get that the part and post on Instagram, tell you? As a video? Your speech?
Oh yeah, sure.
Perfect.
It's so good.
Thank you.
Okay, guys, I think we can wrap up for today.
Yeah, I should open up the store.
Yeah, it's gonna open up. People are queuing up outside. Open.
I wish. I would love to sell lots today, but I mostly have computer work to do.
I see. You get paid by commission?
No, because we just like everyone gets paid equally who works here, because we all do like everything. Like we do receiving. Yesterday I was doing financial work in terms of like mailing our checks, receiving packages, receiving, like putting everything into the computer so that we can tag it, put it on the shelves. And then, yeah, so it's like there's no one who's just a salesman, who's just a cashier, because it's a small shop. We don't have enough employees for that. So everyone does everything. It's pretty cool.
It's nice the fact that you're saying we, like you feel part of the team.
Yeah, we are a team. And we work like usually. Sorry, what?
So fair.
Yeah.
Because we don't have this in here in Brazil. Like every sales shopping, they're paying you for what you sell, and they're pressuring you to sell. It's horrible.
Especially like if it's not, because some days there's just not as many customers. Like it doesn't depend on if you're a good salesman or not sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do have like a lot to learn in terms of the products we sell, because I've not been a snowboarder for as long as I've been a skier, and I don't know as much about like snowboards as you probably should when you're selling them to people. But it's nice. There is stickers on the back. I know like the lingo. I can tell people what board they should go towards. But I'm learning. I'm doing research. I'm gonna get there, you know?
You can hold it up while you read the paper. Like, and then you're gonna sound like a pro.
Yes.
It's great for you. Since you like board sports, it makes total sense for you to learn about.
Yeah, no, this is like a dream job. Especially like skate shop in terms of skateboarding. I want to have skate friends so bad. People who skateboard are really cool to me. I definitely dress like a skater too, so I feel like I don't want to be a poser. I work at a skate shop, I dress like a skater. I need to be able to skate and know what I'm talking about.
All time.
Yeah, full package.
So let's take a picture real quick and wrap up for today.
Let me fix my head.
I know.
Put your head to the side, to one side, right?
There. Yeah, do it, Gustavo.
You've got good volume, hey?
No, thank you. Done? Wait, Annie, we're wasn't ready. Another one. Perfect. Thanks a lot for coming, guys. Thanks a lot, Talia. Enjoy your work.
Yeah. Got a long day ahead of me, and then I'm going to the gym with my mom.
Good luck.
Thank you. Yeah, have a lovely day. All of you.
Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Come back soon.
Yeah, we will. I'll see how my schedule goes. Next weekend, I have a first aid course. But then after that.
No, you mean, I think Vanessa means to Brazil. Don't you?
Vanessa? Oh, yes. Definitely.
I was
try and do that.
Joking with the customer service.
Oh.
Yeah. Come back tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
Come back tomorrow.
Come back tomorrow. Have a lovely day.
Yeah, but come back soon also to talk to us and come back to Brazil soon.
Yes, I will. As soon as I graduate, then I'll try and make